Hey, today is August the 11th, and I'm standing out on the street in front of Corinne and Ian Bean's home, and I am angry. And so I am taking a video here of a bunch of cable in the street because I just finished getting ripped off by a local supplier. There's their name, it's Suplidora. And you see I've got an invoice here, and you see circled. I bought 4 cables, 41 meters long. 3 number 4 cable, 1 number 6 cable to run the supply to their house from the meter. Anyways, I just came back when they refused to fix this small. So I'm going to demonstrate here just how crooked these guys are. Here's Michael holding the end of the cable, and you see he's got a measuring tape there, held at 0 with all 4 of the cables there. Now, let's take a walk and see what you get from Suplidora when you order 4 cables 41 meters long. Now, I've just come back from them, and I'm refusing to fix this, saying it's my problem. Yeah, it's my problem. I did business with them. Now, here's the first one. The white cable we see is, you make out those numbers, 37.4 meters. Then we have the black cable, which is, you can see there, is 38.6 meters. Then we have a red cable that's 39.7 meters. Now this cable's not cheap. What you see laying on the ground here is basically $500 worth of cable. Get that to focus in. 39.7. And then we have the green cable, the cheapest one, and it is pretty much well, it's still a little short, 40.8 meters. I bought and paid for 41 meters. And of course our entire crew here all witnessed this, that the cable came here on Saturday. We rolled it out yesterday, pulled it into the conduit going up to the house, and we describe it as we're pulling it. Of course, we're assuming that they have a rolling meter at the Suplidora, that they would be all the same length and the correct length. But as we pulled it through the conduit, you can see the conduit going down here, we realized as we got close to the end that there wasn't enough cable. I took it back and said to them, it is. Well, then they took and supposedly checked the measurements as I stood and looked over them, and they did it back in their warehouse, and they admitted that for certain one was short. They thought the other ones were right. But my point is, the employees that made the mistake in the first place are the ones who were checking the measurements. I get back here, and first thing this morning, I was late yesterday, first thing this morning I get back, and we are checking it out on the street just like this with the measuring tape, and we find out that basically none of these cables are the right length. 2 are tolerably usable, the red and the green. The white and the black are completely useless to us because it doesn't get to the other end. And they can't explain it. They just says, oh, it's our policy that we don't change cable. So they don't change stuff when their employees have made the mistake. That is interesting. Anyways, this is an example of what I call good TECO business practices, because they have me, I warned them that war was going to start, and it has. Where did, oh, anyway, so. Ángel, usted es un testigo de este cable es exactamente que recibo desde Suplidora. Sí, claro. Daniel? Daniel. Daniel's coming into the scene. Entonces, Daniel, usted es un testigo. Este cable es exactamente el cable recibo desde Suplidora that nosotros no cortar nada.
No, no cortar nada.
Okay. Michael? This is exactamente the cable recibo desde Suplidora.
Sí, claro, ese es el cable que recibimos.
Okay, there's tres testigos por este robo. Gracias, muchachos. Well, continuing back with the story, what I wanted to say is, on occasion I do run into, well, I guess anywhere in the world, but certainly run into Tico businesses who have a really bad customer service policy. This is one of the worst that I have seen in quite a number of years, and one that I says, how are they going to gain on this? I mean, they're arguing over replacing two cables. I offered to accept the one that was a half a meter short, that we had enough tolerance to do that. But otherwise, you know, we can't join the, I mean, well, it's absolutely against code to make joints in cables in a conduit. And secondly, I would never do that to a client. I mean, we could do it and they would not know it, but I sure heck would know it. So the point is, this cable cannot be used here unless, of course, we either take the post and move it or remove the house. So I think it's easier to go buy two more cables, but you know, war is on, and I am definitely going to take, because even the manager of the Suplidora key here in Huacas didn't have the authority to fix an error of his employees. He had to phone San Jose, and the woman general manager there refused to do anything about it, saying it's against their policy. Well, it's against my policy to have suppliers steal from me, and that's what this amounts to, is they're blatantly stealing from me. And needless to say, they're not going to get another cent of money from me on this project, or anyone as long as I live, nor anybody that's working with us is going to be buying any product from them. So, you know, the stupid thing here is, it's one thing pissing one consumer off, but if you're pissing a builder off, I mean, I had it happen earlier this year with Intaco and found out that they had a really bad attitude. And so here's another one. And what happens with suppliers like this, they get turfed, and I'm like an elephant. I don't forget, and they do not get a second chance. This one I'm going to take to Consumer Affairs as well, and needless to say, it's going on the website, and I only hope that they lose 1,000 times more businesses than what $250 a cable was, when they were clearly in the wrong. Their only excuse was, oh, well, we counted it a second time yesterday and it was right. Well, no, the guys who counted the first time were wrong. The guys who counted the second time obviously made an error, because as you saw from the video, it's very clear. The Trooper measuring tape doesn't, I even doubted the measuring tape when I checked it against the Milwaukee tape and against our Chinese tape. And guess what? They were all the same. And they all said, this cable is short. You know, so where or how, he says, well, it's a mystery. So if the supplier can't explain it, they blame it on the customer? Like I said to him, why would I cut a piece off the end of my cable? Why wouldn't I cut them all? What point is it doesn't do the job anymore? That is completely insane, you know, to call it logic as stretching it just a tad. But at any rate, there is a bit of a lesson from Costa Rica where consumer protection laws are, to say the least, a little lax, and you get companies that are just simply bad eggs. And this is certainly one of them that I would think qualifies as being a bad egg, that anybody seeing this video, reading our website, would say, this is a company to stay away from. I only dealt with them from sheer convenience because my regular supplier, EAC in San Jose, is not here. But after this, believe me, I will be back, because I bought in cable how many times from EAC and I never got shorted. If anything, there's usually a little extra, which is the way it should be. You know, and he's saying, well, this isn't right. Or these other ones were right yesterday. And he says, well, but you admitted today that one is short, so how do you know any of the other? I mean, you know, it's basically, once you're proven wrong, how wrong are you? So he's admitting, oh, and he offers to give me, get this, a credit for a half a meter cable that they say they didn't give me. Well, no, it's not more. And the point is, the cables are useless until I find another job and I guess move the house and the post closer together right from the word get-go. At any rate, That's the end of my daily rant, but I mean to say I'm a little hot on this, and I came back and measured it. Well, I had all the quibbles in my hand and all my witnesses here who saw this, who are, to say the least, a little more credible than a bunch of guys in a warehouse who got caught fucking up. Pardon the language, but that's what happened.